Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
Julio, it's winter, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
I tell you what, the weather's been warm, and there's some weird things going on. My lawn is like super green.
Oh, wow.
I know yours is brown.
Oh, mine is brown.
Right, Vera? Anyway, so my lawn is green, and we've had customers come in and say that their bulbs are coming up, and that they're what's going to happen? Are they going to die? We're going to tell you all about what to do in our first segment.
There's a new trend for 2024. Edmentals. That's right. You heard it here first.
That's
Edmentals. Plants that are both edible and ornamental that are used in the garden and landscape. Hear all about it during our second segment.
Boxwood Blight is a serious disease with no known cure. It had adversely affected the nursery industry, $170 million boxwood production. We'll discuss the details and alternative plants to use during our third segment.
The hottest plant on the planet right now is the Hydrangea eclipse. Hear all about it in our fourth segment.
I recently filled out the New Jersey Tree Survey as a good steward of the environment. It asks some really interesting questions that we want to bring up on the show today. You'll hear all about it in our final segment.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome's Triple Action contains 70% neem oil and 0.25% pyrethrins as the concentrate and ready to spray. It is an insecticide, fungicide, and miticide labeled to use on vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs, spices, and ornamentals. This organic OMRI-listed product controls a wide variety of insect pests and diseases, including aphids, scale, spider mites, whiteflies, rust, leaf spot, and powdery mildew. This insecticide is an all-in-one bottle that will cure just about any problem you may run into throughout the year. Fertilome's Triple Action has been helping gardeners across the country for years. Best to apply in late evening and early morning hours. Mix 1 ounce, which is equivalent to 2 tablespoons in a gallon of water. The best part is Triple Action may be used up to the day of harvest. So the next time you are visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilome's Triple Action and expect to have the best looking plants in the neighborhood.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. All right. So maybe there's something to this global warming. I don't know. I mean, my grass has never been this green. I'm ready to put down a crabgrass control.
Really?
Don't do it. Still, I'm considering it because what's growing is my cool season grasses.
Amazing.
It's just the way that we've had we've had 20 upper 20s, but we haven't gone to the teens. So we haven't hit any like real extent, like a stretch of like 20-degree weather during the day, like where you're bundled up and you've got your, ski jacket on and you're still cold. I haven't seen it.
No, not yet.
I haven't seen
not
it.
Yet.
And I think we're like approaching, I don't know, Sam, you know this kind of stuff. How many weeks or years or
We're coming up on 2 years.
almost 2 years without a measurable snow in Philadelphia? And I know they said the same thing about Central Park in New York.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit less for Central Park, but still a very, very long time.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, it I mean, I don't know. I guess like you feel like, what are we, like in the Carolinas?
Yeah.
You know, maybe.
Are the zones going to change?
You know, they did. Yeah, the zones, hard-in zones did change. They announced that this past fall, not significantly. And it's only microclimates that really changed. My Yuletide camellias,
Oh, I know that.
killer. They're looking great.
Great.
You know, there's the dark red flowers with yellow anthers. Oh man, there's
Yeah, mines are starting to come in.
are they
They're opening up? Yeah.
Awesome,
January.
Oh yeah.
awesome. And it's like it's just so weird to have flowers
Yeah.
in January.
So my dad has 4 big ones, and he didn't even know what they were. He said, "I don't know, but they bloom in the winter." I said, "I know exactly what they are, Dad."
Thank you, son.
Right?
There you go. But I tell you, most shrubs are really dormant. That their roots may be growing, but the tops are still dormant. And here's the biggest thing: you can still plant.
Oh, yeah.
We when we were leaving for the studio today, I looked on the signboard and Carl has up there is like nursery 50% off.
yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, we still have Christmas inventory we're trying to clear out of. And then I thought to myself, it's like,
That's right.
the nursery stock you can plant. You can do your landscape now.
Right now. Yeah.
You can plant as long as the ground is not frozen solid. If the ground is frozen solid, and it's not so much that it's hard to dig a hole, it's that when you go to backfill that hole, that you're backfilling it with like ice chunks, and it leaves air pockets around the roots of those plants, and then that can damage the plant itself. So you can plant right now without any problem.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll get full attention.
That's right. That's right. And Aaron, Doreen's geranium still going strong.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
We just got an update. Doreen has this geranium that she planted in June, it's like a hanging basket. It's outside.
Yeah, outside the front door.
Yep. And it's
on some
against the
brick.
brick.
Yep.
And we talked about it probably, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and that it's still looking good. It's flowering. I don't know. Ball horticulture, you might want to take some cuttings of this thing, and have a new plant, but you have to name it Doreen.
Doreen. Yeah. There you go.
But again, the people who have their bulbs coming up. Did you plant bulbs, Will?
Yeah, I have bulbs.
Are there any of them coming up?
No, not yet.
You know what's going to be happening soon for you?
Right.
Is that your Linton Rose, your hellebores are going to start
I have to check
getting
them,
active, setting buds. Anyway, but the bulbs that are coming up out of the ground, just leave them alone. Don't try to put mulch on top of them or anything else. You'll physically damage the flower more than when you hit that bud with like mulch or something to cover them, rather than if you just let them alone. Believe it or not, Mother Nature knows what she's doing, and that honestly, we will get some snow at some point. We will get. It may not last very long, but because the ground is so warm, but it's going to be all right, and it's just that. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the weather that we're getting.
Go outside.
At some point we're going to get snow, and then everybody's going to say, "Oh, I hate the snow." I actually would enjoy a nice white covering of the metropolitan Philadelphia area. I could use a blanket right now because everything's just so barren.
It is.
So with a little bit of snow, that would be a nice thing.
It would be.
How much is too much snow, Aaron?
Anything more than, I would say, 5 inches or so.
Yeah, that's close. I was saying 6 is too much, so I'm right there. 3 inches is good.
3 is good.
You're
we can
good?
handle it.
Yeah. I want it to melt so I don't have to deal with it.
Deal with the
Yeah.
shoveling part.
Yeah. What's a shovel?
You know, a shovel.
I mean, shoveling snow? What do you mean?
What do you
I
mean?
think 5 inches is my snowblower threshold.
Yeah.
I won't pull out the snowblower unless I see 4 to 5 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. My son-in-law, his dad gave him a snowblower 2 years ago. I think he's itching to use it.
Oh, yeah.
So he's hoping that maybe we get a significant snowstorm, and then we'll get out there and it won't start. Sorry, Steve. Anyway, but don't worry if stuff's popping out of the ground. If you have, like I have my herbs, I still have thyme and I have chives and sage, and I'm still using it right out of my window boxes that I have.
Great.
So
Isn't that great?
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Mother Nature knows what's happening. And so even if like all of a sudden we get like, I hate it when the weathermen say we have an Arctic freeze. The Arctic freeze, it may hurt the actual, say, the foliage of the plant or something like that, but it's not going to kill it down to the roots, or at least we hope not.
Especially if you used a wilt stop.
Always selling. Anyway, again, it may like hurt the foliage part, and you may have some of your plants defoliate a little bit. It's not a big deal. But so far, it has been mild.
Yes.
So we'll see.
What happens?
Alberta Clipper. That's another thing I hate the weatherman to say. Alberta Clipper. Anyway.
El Nino.
El Nino. El Nino. I don't know what's worse, El Nino or El Nina.
Well,
They both mean that water's coming from California.
for sure.
They have enough time with water.
Right.
All right. We're going to be right back in the garden talking about a brand new trend that is on point with both Pennsylvania Horticultural Society mentioned it. It was mentioned in the Green Thumb survey. So this is a real thing. We'll be right back to tell you all about it after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Are you looking forward to a spring of vibrancy while using the best organically approved growing media for your annuals and vegetables? Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter has been created to set a diverse culture, ideal for germinating seeds and root cuttings. Created using the best ancient composting techniques and new age mixing devices, Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter gently combines kelp meal, worm castings, mycorrhiza, perlite, and sustainably harvested peat moss, establishing the most desirable setting to enhance new plant growth. Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter is available at these local retailers, or visit www.coastofmaine.com to locate one near you. Sickles Market, Little River, New Jersey. Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania.
Wanting to up your game in the vegetable garden? With 90 years of organic gardening experience, the Espoma Company has you covered. Espoma Organic Garden Tone is not your average garden variety fertilizer. Garden Tone is especially blended for organic vegetable gardens. Its all-natural formula contains Biotone, a blend of organic ingredients that supplies essential nutrients for strong, healthy plants and mouth-watering vegetables. Its slow-release formula provides continuous feeding. The Biotone contained in Garden Tone is a combination of organic ingredients and beneficial microbes to help roots grow deeper and faster for bigger, more bountiful harvests. Garden Tone is simple to use and safe for people, pets, and the planet. No harmful chemicals or synthetic fertilizers are ever added. You can find Garden Tone at fine garden centers. Visit espoma.com to find a retailer near you. Garden Tone from Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. A big trend for 2024 is using Edmentals. using ornamentals, plants, that is, you can eat. Isn't that incredible?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. We talked about this a little bit on the show over the years, but it actually, the term was coined by a writer, Stephen Barstow of Norway. So
Norwegian.
I guess he doesn't listen to our show. Or maybe he does.
Yeah.
In any case, what he said is, again, Edmentals are plants that are both edible and ornamental, therefore serving more than one function in the garden. Typically plants that thrive for more than 1 year, including perennials, shrubs, and even trees. Now, he's talking about putting those plants in your vegetable garden. I like the reverse of that too, is taking some of those edible plants and putting them into your landscape. Yeah. You do have to be concerned about what you're putting, like as far as insecticides and stuff on. But again, I think it's a great idea to do a double duty of your plants, and especially because there's so many pretty plants that are being produced and dwarf plants that are being produced, and that we're going to get into that in just a bit. I mean, I've done this to a certain extent.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I remember
one?
I designed a garden one time where it had a border that it was, instead of being the traditional just, row of beans, a row of this, a row of that, like I did almost an English garden where it was a border of like leaf lettuce, like all the way around it,
nice.
or, it would be green beans all the way around, like as a border, and then make it more like a decorative layout. So,
That's part of that, isn't it?
It is, but where he's talking about, again, plants that are lower maintenance, which is, and again, the one that's shouting to me is like strawberries and blueberries and different types of small dwarf fruit trees that are in your garden. And I'm talking about dwarf fruit trees, bearing plants that are not something like a blackberry that gets to be gigantic and invasive, but there are dwarf varieties now that are out there. And kids love that. I mean, just think, it's like when you have, kids love strawberries, kids love blueberries, most kids anyway. I didn't like blueberries growing up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with them now. And again, it's get the kids out from, no more screen time, okay?
Yeah, right.
I remember my kids when they do video games, it used to drive me crazy. And they say, oh, yeah, I scored 100 points. I'm like, what'd you do in real life today?
That's right.
Yeah. They never visit me now.
Oh,
no. No, and it's just their kids aren't outside running around. You used to hear kids screaming it, like in your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
You live right near the high school.
I do, yeah.
And do you ever hear like the noise of kids running around?
There's
and
none
playing?
around.
There's none.
I don't see any.
But gardening with kids is something that I think is essential. I mean, I'm so proud of Aaron because his kids are involved with the plants and the birds and all the stuff that he's doing. It's very cool. Very cool. Some of the Edmentals that he talks about too are like daylilies. I know that we had it was one of the high school kids that worked for us that they did a video on eating a daylily. Yeah, so that was pretty
awesome.
funny because daylilies are edible, and that where they again there are other things like I didn't know dahlias. It says dahlias here. I didn't realize it. Dahlias. Well, now I got another thing to add to my palette. Chicory flowers, currants. There you go. Another type of woody. Gooseberries. Again, elderberries, asparagus. The cool thing about asparagus is that not just the asparagus part, but the plant when it gets that light and airy look to it, where it's ornamental.
It is.
Fennel,
yeah.
Fennel is one. Looks kind of like dill.
I used to.
Yeah?
As an ornamental.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Very good. And again, the annual varieties, like I think are great, are using the like the rainbow. It's Swiss chard and kale, ornamental kale, nasturtiums,
yeah.
pansies. They like pansies. It's got to be tough. Yeah. But the one thing that I want to highlight is look at your local garden center and look for an It'll be in a specific blue, light pale blue, aqua blue pot, and it will say on it bushel and berry. That is a specific line of dwarf fruits. Like the one that I'm going to talk about right now is the jelly bean blueberry. It is awesome. We talk about even later on in the next segment, we're talking about the Boxwood Blight. This would replace Boxwood because it stays real compact, real small. It's an awesome plant. And that, again, it's going to get it's full-sized blueberries. Just because a plant's small does not mean that the fruit's going to be like small too. Oh, yeah. So it's a full-size fruit. There's also a dwarf raspberry in this line, and I tell you, and a thornless raspberry. Wow. Someone who's battling a giant wild blackberries. I would appreciate that. So again, it's a new trend, and it's something that you should try. Put some woodies in. Again, they're something that bears a fruit crop, or even something that's vining that you would feed off, like grapes or something like that. If you have room, put it in your garden and put it in a strategic spot where it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's not like hidden.
As you're coming into the front door, but you can feed people.
There you go. Eat along the way. That's right. It's like little hors d'oeuvres. You can pick your own. So anyway, just to give it a try this year. And again, look for that bushel and berry series. Yeah. Lots of fun plants in there. We'll be right back in the garden right after this.
Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
If you're like me, then you absolutely love birds. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center has you covered. They're dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds of all sorts. Want to bring more birds to your yard? Then you got to see this place. Bloomers has a huge flock of feeders, birdhouses, birdseed, and much, much more. Want to feed the birds and not the squirrels? They have this absolutely cool bronze bird feeder that will drive those sneaky squirrels nuts. They'll be moving to the next door neighbor in no time. OMG. Bloomers have these absolutely adorable birdhouses that will turn your yard into the perfect bird B&B. They carry all types of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. Bloomer stocks, Lyric, Coles, CNS, Pine Tree Farms, and much, much more that will keep those beautiful birds coming back for more. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County. For more information and directions, check them out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center, you got to see this place.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden.
Well, boxwoods are dying, and the science community of horticulture wants to save a crop. It's 22 million plants produced in a year, but it's also some of the most ornate botanical gardens use boxwoods. And there's something that's out there that's called it's a disease. It's called Boxwood Blight. If you haven't heard of it, you will, because boxwoods are getting harder and harder to find. They recently put a quarantine in New Jersey, and they actually had to get plants that were inspected before they could be shipped, making it harder and harder to actually get the regular standard boxwoods. So you're gonna don't think that when you go to your local garden center and they're trying to say you ask for boxwood and they're trying to give you a different plant, don't think that there's it's just because they're out. It's just there are new plants that are being developed that are resistant to the blight or are a different species altogether. But here's what you need to look for: that if you are looking at your plant, and what I don't want is, we talk about, Julio, we talk about winter burn on boxwood all the time. And winter burn, it almost makes it look like a straw color. And, it will turn that way. But before that happens, you're going to find that there is like the tissue on the leaves that they'll turn a little almost like blotchy. And like when you look at a boxwood, it's hard to really zero in on the leaf. It's because you always seem to look at the plant. You always look at like the shape of the plant more than anything. But if you look at the leaves, that there's there'll be a red ring and like almost a straw colored spotting on the leaves, and that the stems are going to get black streaks on it. That is the infection. And that if you see that, you need to, you can try to cut it out, but generally it doesn't work. They are destined to go. And the problem is that it's very, very contagious. So it spreads like you personally can walk through boxwoods and then spread that infected boxwood to other things just from what's on your clothing.
Wow.
So there is a concern that even maybe you didn't see as much boxwood out there this past Christmas as far as decorations, because the cut Christmas greens may have the boxwood blight in it.
Wow.
So this is not a good thing. Not a good thing. Where it started, I think it was 2011. It came from England. And they started having the problems in the 90s. But where, it didn't get here, and I think it was maybe Connecticut or North Carolina, something like that. In the 2010, the early teens, but again, it is something that is just wiping out like these. You think about these estates or these gardens that have these great big boxwoods that are hundreds of years old that are just dying. So it's bad. The actual spores of this disease can exist in the soil for up to 5 years. So it's not like you can just rip the plant out and put a new boxwood in, because it'll die too. So what do you do? What do you do? Well, the horticultural community is on it. There are other plants that are being grown to be used. And we mentioned in that last segment, it's not exactly right, but it is a dwarf, smaller, a smaller type of plant that's more compact, that'll give you the same type of look as a boxwood. Not exactly, but it'll be that small hedge, low hedge, and that's that jelly bean blueberry. There is also some really interesting new varieties where it's let's see here.
here we go again. Proven winners. Proven winners is on top of it. I can't.
Yeah.
And that we've had these plants in. Do you remember the strong box Japanese holly?
Holly, yeah, they're very nice.
And it looks a lot like it is an ideal. Like most people would not be able to tell the difference. Also, gem box is another variety. Also, sky box. They're all Japanese holly. So just sky box, gem box, and strong box. Those are varieties that are not boxwood that could be put in that place where that dead boxwood was and not be affected. Yeah. Now, there is a collection of better boxwood, and of course that is a trademarked name, that are bred to be blight resistant. Again, because we saw this thing come in from England first, 20 years of research, breeding, and plant trialing. There's a variety called Skylight, which is one of 4 different varieties. There's another variety called Babylon Beauty, Heritage, and Renaissance. And each one is unique and can fill most any of the boxwood, the things that you would use a boxwood for. And obviously it is a boxwood. North Star boxwood is another variety. Sprinter little leaf boxwood is another one. Green Beauty little leaf boxwood, another. Winter Gem Korean boxwood. That's an old variety that's been around.
Yeah.
And that will work as well.
That's the one I have.
Do you have the Korean boxwood?
Yeah.
It's a little more open than the standard boxwood, and it does look different.
It does.
But you keep it shear tight, it'll look
nice.
better.
Yeah, it's nice.
Now this is another plant that I'm not that familiar with, but it was recommended as a replacement first on the list, and that I got this one from one of the horticulture magazines, and it's called Jukebox is the variety, and it's Pyrachelmanthes. It's hard to say. And it's funny because even in the, I'll give credit that the writers, they said a common name, again, is just you're looking for the jukebox is the varietal name. But again, it's easy to grow, hard to pronounce. Dwarf evergreen shrub will produce a mound, shiny green leaves. It can form a mat similar to, I guess, if you think of a Japanese holly, Hellerai holly, where Hellerai holly look almost like a flattened mushroom, like a top of a mushroom. But if you prune it, it will look at that. It'll be that shape. Traditional shape, and that leaf is very similar. If you're looking for other varieties, here's another thing. It's completely separate, but again, it'll give you that round shape that you're looking for and be real dense foliage. But it's instead of it being a broadleafed evergreen, that it's going to be more of a traditional evergreen, and that again, tater tot thuya oxidus. So it's a globe arborvitae, and the variety is tater tot. Okay. We have carried these. We have had them in. They're a dwarf globe arborvitae. Good replacement.
Oh yeah.
Good replacement because it'll. But the texture is going to look a little different, but it will basically do the same type of thing. Mm. So, again,
you like boxwoods, do you?
I do like boxwoods.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. I have boxwoods in front of my house, and
how long have you had those?
Since the house was built, probably. And that they're probably, and I was going to start looking for some giant boxwoods, cut back these, and try to look for something that was like 3 foot by 3 foot, so that I can match them up.
Can't find them?
No, I'm debating because there's some missing. They may be missing because they have the blight in them. Oh, okay. So I may be having to rip mine out and to replace them. And that's not cool.
Yeah. No,
so
it's not.
I don't know. Again, when you go to your local garden center, if you have boxwood or you have issues and you think that you may have that blight, and again, you're going to see it because the actual foliage will have spots on it, and it also will start getting a little bit, it'll have like spots on the foliage, and then the actual stems will have black streaks on the stem.
You'll know.
Bring a sample to your local garden center. It's important that we figure out how this thing is spreading. If those of you that have dealt with the spotted lanternfly know that they were trying to keep a handle on how far it was spreading, where it was going, how fast it was growing. They're doing the same thing with this boxwood blight.
Now, if this spore is in the soil for 5 years,
Right.
and you're pulling this plant out,
Right.
what are you going to do about you? Are you going to take all that soil out?
No, you can't. Because it's, again, you can put in resistant varieties of boxwood to replace it, or a different type of plant that's unaffected. Okay. There's all kinds of spores that are in the soil that, again, one thing is making sure that on your boxwoods that you're cleaning them up. I mean, every leaf, just like in the fall when the trees start losing their leaves, evergreens also will drop their needles or will drop their leaves. With the boxwoods, with this blight, if you can clean up underneath those boxwood and get those leaves picked up and put into the trash, then you'll be doing something that's really good, because you'll be eliminating those spores by getting rid of those infected or possibly infected leaves.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so that's something to do.
Clean it up.
Yeah, this is an issue, because the boxwood is a huge crop for nurseries, and everybody is scurrying trying to find a new replacement. I know that we had David on the show this past year, and they are growing a resistant variety of boxwood that's over to Best Nursery. They're growing one. They're also growing a non-invasive variety of red barber. So, and again, it's more than likely a sterile variety so that it can't reseed and reproduce in the wild.
That's great. We talk about science, right?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. It's not just a bunch of guys, putting plants in the ground. No, there's a lot of science that goes behind this.
Yeah.
Again, the crop's big.
It is big, yeah.
Big crop. All right. If you have questions of whether you think your boxwoods are infected, please call the hotline. That's 609-685-1880, and leave us a message, and we'll call you back, and we'll try to work through it. We'll actually get you in touch with your area's county agricultural agents so that they can get confirmation that they are trying, again, to track this. So if you think that your boxwoods just aren't doing good, they're defoliating, something's not right, we'll walk you through it. So give us a call on the hotline, and then let us know that you've got an issue with your boxwood, and we'll walk you through what you need to do. All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA.
Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomer's Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hydrangea, it's the new one now. It's called Eclipse. Is a true dark leaf mop head hydrangea that offers season-long beauty with intense dark purple. You hear that? Intense dark purple. Leaves that hold their color, even in sunny, warm climate, folks. It's incredible.
I don't know. So what do you think, Julio? You a fan?
I want to see it.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Well, we have seen it. Carl is like in he loves his plant.
Oh, yeah.
He loves the plant. So if you can picture a pink flowering hydrangea, okay, that has like burgundy leaves, and I mean, it's very cool. And it reminds me of some of the Weigelias that have the dark colored leaves,
Yeah,
and some,
that's right, yeah.
you know, some of the some of the other new introductions that have had like the 9 barks that have the dark leaves, you know, so it has that color. So it's really, really dark. Oof.
What do you think?
Well, I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know, if I saw this plant in the middle of the nursery, I'd think something's wrong with it. you know?
would?
Well, because it doesn't, you know, it's around hydrangea is a green leaf.
Yeah, I know. It's
So,
going to throw everybody off.
but the green, the dark, I guess it's not burgundy. How would you call that? It's almost black.
It is almost black.
So that leaf color against that pink flower, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now,
it pops.
we talk about science all the time. In the last segment, we're talking about the Boxwood Blight. This segment, we're talking about a new plant introduction that is just basically hitting the market. I don't think they're going to have enough supply. You know, where, you know, Carl and I have talks like, are we even going to get any? You know, our suppliers are going to be in short supply because everybody's going to want it. This plant is not new. And what I mean by that is that this plant was started in 2016, and they started to develop it. They started saying, well, what do you think? You think it'll go? What do we think? Let's try it. You know, let's start growing some things. We'll see what happens. And then as it goes on, it's like, well, it's holding up. This is pretty good. We'll do some test gardens. We'll move it around. It took, you know, basically that's 8 years.
8 years for one plant.
For a new introduction on a plant. So anytime you see it's a new plant, it's a new plant. It's not a new plant because of, you know, yesterday. They had to get the quantity up so that they can get production in line, and it has to pass all of these different scientific tests for it to be worthy.
Let me just say something about that, Len. You know, when you come into the garden center, you say, oh, wow, this thing's expensive. Hey, you know, it took 8 years, right?
That's right.
You didn't mean to tell me, you know, they didn't make this yesterday.
That's right, exactly. And it's 8 years for the plant to come to market, and then it takes probably 2 to 3 years for the plant to be grown enough to be the size that it's saleable.
11 years right there.
So again, you know, a little respect.
That's right.
A little respect. So again, it's very pretty, and again, it's called Eclipse, and that you're going to see that it's, again, first editions is like think of it as a competitor to Proven Winners, that everybody is branding their pots these days, and that you'll see first editions, and there's other plants that are first editions, and that it'll be
it'll have Honest Pot first editions, and that you'll know it because it'll be the only dark-leafed hydrangea that's there this year anyway. You know, who knows? All of a sudden next year, after it's 20 different new varieties of dark-leafed hydrangea. Would it be cool if they could get it blue? I'm sure they tried.
A blue one. Wow.
With that dark purple?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Interesting. All right. Well, we won't. They're just saying, we just brought you this one.
Now you want another one.
Disease resistant. Okay. Again, they've tested it. So it's disease resistant, which is very important. It's not great big, so it's not going to be gigantic. It's going to be a standard size.
3 to 5.
Repeat bloomer. Yep. Repeat bloomer. So it's going to continue to bloom.
Mm-hmm.
It'll do good in a pot. So
Wonderful.
that is great news.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah. So again, like Julio said, 3 to 5 is going to be full sun to part shade. And in the hardiness zone, 5 to 9.
That's great. Yeah.
5 to 9. So again, it's a great plant to look out for. And again, it's called Hydrangea Eclipse, and it's from the first editions, folks. And that it just it's gonna be a winner.
I think so. Yeah.
You know,
You think we'll get it?
I think we'll get a few. I think we'll get a few, but I know what happens whenever you get new plants. We always are prorated. You know, give us 100 and we get like 20.
Oh gosh.
And it always happens.
Right.
I get it. I get it. But again, the fact that they've tested it in full sun and the leaf doesn't burn or anything like that.
Curl up or anything.
That's good. That's good. Again, a great, just think about that. So again, you have dark burgundy, big leaves with a large hydrangea flower of pink. And that when it starts to open, the buds themselves, when it starts to open, are more white than they are pink. So it's not pink from the beginning. It starts coloring up from more of a white color. So you have that contrast of a creamy white against that dark purple foliage.
It's gonna be awesome.
Very cool. And then it eventually will grow and become more and more pink as those flowers open. Again, it can handle, it can handle shade. And when we say shade, we don't mean the dark. Okay. We're talking about filtered sun. We're talking about areas where it's, gets about, 4 hours sun or about there, 3 to 4 hours sun, and it's shaded for the rest of the day. So it's going to need some sun. One thing is that it's, again, you don't want all hydrangeas. This is our hydrangea talk. Gosh, we have more questions about hydrangeas. Don't prune it in the fall, okay, because you want to let it set buds. So in the spring, when it's really, you want it to be a real show-off plant. So again, it's make sure that you again just let it go. But again, it is called First Editions Hydrangea Eclipse. Okay, and that's what you're going to look for, and that's what you're going to ask for. Great plant. It's exciting because, again, it's the first dark-leafed plant. All hydrangeas mostly have been green. And putting it in a white pot.
Awesome.
Yeah. Right? White pot. That'd be awesome. Yeah, so, again, look for it this spring at a garden center near you. All right. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and, of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other compost, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Are you looking to reach an audience of over 12 million residents in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley, and New York City tri-state? Then consider becoming a broadcast sponsorship partner for Bloomers in the Garden. Every week on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, your products become associated with the authority in everything lawn, landscape, and garden. For more information on the Bloomers in the Garden Partnership Program, feel free to call the hotline 609-685-1880 or check out the radio tab at bloomers.com.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, I was surprised when the Arbor Day Foundation sent me to my home, so as a resident, not as an official person in the industry, the New Jersey Tree Survey. Wow. And it really reminded me of how important trees are in everybody's life. And we take them for granted, to be honest with you. We're going to go through the questions, and then when I get to a point, I'm going to ask both Julio, Aaron. I'll probably ask Sam too. All right. So here we go. Here are some of the type of questions for ask where you live, urban, suburban, whatever. Sam, have you ever climbed a tree?
Do I look like I've ever climbed a tree?
Well, not recently. Julio, have you ever climbed a tree?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Aaron?
I tried.
You tried? Well, hey, I think that counts. So that would be a yes.
Okay.
Okay. When you were a child, have you ever played under or among trees?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So we got yeses.
Yeah.
Now I know your kids did this, I think, recently. Did you ever collect leaves, acorns, or pine cones for a school project or just for fun?
Both.
Oh, yeah.
Both.
Yeah, I actually still have a school project from a tree, like a tree branch.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there anything left to it? I mean,
Yeah, the branch is still there. And then we did like drawings and we hung them off the branch. So I still have that hanging up.
Wow. How about that? Good
That's what's
Sam. I like your grandma.
It was her idea to keep it. So.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Have you ever relaxed in the shade of the tree? No, I think everybody has.
Of course.
Now, they asked if the New Jersey state tree should be the red oak, northern red oak. And yeah, that's okay. I mean, I can't see better. I don't think I want a native red maple. Red oak's okay. Pin oaks are having too many problems. So I said yes. I said yes to that.
I do too. It's a pretty nice looking tree.
It is. It is. Do you think, I thought this was kind of funny. All right. All of you, this is it. You can answer. Do you think in general residents of New Jersey care more about trees than the people in the rest of the country?
Not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure? Yeah. Coward. What do you think? People care about trees more than other people in the country?
Gosh, that's a hard one.
You are
Probably, right? I'd say
I
probably.
would think so.
I
We're-
don't
you know-
think people give a crap in New Jersey about trees.
We're the Garden State.
Yeah, not tree state.
Oh, I know.
Even so, but I that's where I started thinking. It's people do take them for granted. It's like they become an annoyance and they want to cut them down, not plant them. So I was just that made me a little disappointed in New Jersey. Just thinking that it's not like trees become a thing for our residents. I know our customers come in. A lot of times they just want to get it out of the way. I got to buy a tree. I need to put I don't know. So unfortunately, trees are a big, huge part of all right, for instance, which of the following would you say is the single most important function of trees? Providing shade, providing oxygen, well, that's pretty important, being a source of beauty, removing carbon dioxide to slow climate change. Yeah, climate change, people. filtering water, saving energy by cooling our homes and neighborhoods, and providing habitats for animals. All right?
All of the above.
Oh, they didn't have that as an answer. and they should have, because providing oxygen, let's face it,
It's gotta be number one, isn't it?
right?
The whole photosynthesis, that process, man.
That's right. Removing carbon dioxide.
Sure.
That's key, but also, filtering the water saving energy that by cooling our homes, because why want to use fossil fuel in my house? Give me that natural gas. Is that fossil fuel? Is natural gas a fossil fuel? Anyway, and that don't touch my stove, even though it's electric.
All the green people are coming after you.
Oh, I know. Send your hate mail to Julio Zamora, care of Bloomers in the Garden.
There you go.
Like Aaron said, all of them providing a habitat for birds and animals. I think is a great thing. Unless it's a bear, I don't really want a bear in my house.
Yeah.
Can you identify the trees near your Sewell home? Well, I can. I think I think even Aaron, you can probably do
Some
most of them
of them.
too, except for that one that they were shaking that one time where
Yeah.
they shook all the
shook the
leaves out of it with
leaves
some
off,
funky
man.
machine.
Really?
Wow.
It asked how many trees on your property. Have you ever planted a tree? Duh. Do you have a bird feeder near your home? I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
It's like really gotten into the birds. My son Carl.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
He had a mockingbird on his bird feeder. He was like, "What is this bird? What is it?" I had a full size, woodpecker on my one feeder, and it's like it's coming in. It's like it's gonna make me stressed out and a little tired. And again, it asks, most important, should we? Now, this may be controversial. What do you think is more important, to plant trees in our communities, to increase shade, clean air, and well-being, to reforest the destroyed areas by fire, to replenish America's forests, and how important do you think it is to save the rainforest? Anyone?
Wait, so are we supposed to pick
So
one
are
of
you
those?
you're Gen Z, right?
I was born in 1999.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
All right, whatever.
So I'll say
You're Gen Z with that answer.
Yeah.
So
I'll say
how would
that-
you? Well, no, I want.
Go ahead.
I want because Sam's the youngest.
Z.
So do we need to pick one of those
But
options?
yeah, I'm just curious what you think is most important.
That's tough. What was the second one?
Second one was replenish trees in America's forests.
Yeah, that one. I'd probably pick that one.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to look up where it's most needed, right? Because I don't really know that off the top of my head.
Right.
I'm
Well,
just guessing.
Philadelphia has an incredible program with putting trees in the city. It really is that when my daughter lived in Northern Liberties, they just showed up one day and were putting a tree in.
Yeah, I was more thinking about like scale, right? Because like your community, planting trees is not really going to do a whole lot for the world. But planting for a whole forest or maybe the rainforest, that's a way bigger area.
What did Hillary say? We're a village or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
All right. So Julio, what is your answer?
I'd say I'm like Sam. I think the
Hey, look,
rainforest.
we're over time again, Sam.
The
He's talking
rainforest
too
is
much.
probably the one.
Rainforest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with rainforest also. That climate affects so much.
Yeah. I am in our community. I think it's so important to have that established in our community that we see a value in it, that the rest will all take care of itself. If we don't create a value of trees in our community, that it won't expand beyond our neighborhood, beyond anywhere. Otherwise, you're just throwing money at the rainforest and the one question was stupid about forests destroyed by fire. They kind of reclaim themselves.
Yeah, they do.
That's the purpose of the fires a lot of times.
Right? Well, this is
Yeah.
New Jersey. They don't know much about the wilderness.
Wow. They do control burns.
Right.
And that's,
And one reason why, California is always on fire now. All right. We'll be right back right after this. Costa Maine's Organic Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the best soil for raised bed gardens, planter boxes, and container gardens. It grows amazing vegetables.
It is made with a mixture of manure compost, worm castings, lobster and kelp meal, mycorrhiza, green sand, and biochar. It's ready to use straight out of the bag with no need for additional components or tilling. If you love growing fresh and hearty vegetables, herbs, and flowers, Coast of Maine's Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the perfect choice for you. At Coast of Maine, we believe in growing organically and buying locally. Castine Organic Raised Bed Mix can be found at these fine stores.
Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey. Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, we are out of time, like we had said. We're going to be here right here next week, same time in the garden. We've got a trade show we're going to. We're going to be back. All kinds of information. We'll see you in the garden.
See you in the garden.